investigation, solving mysteries in the night. Chasing shadows, finding answers, shining bright light. No one's left behind in the darkness, all alone. With a heart like a siren, she brings the lost ones home. Silent cries in the dark no longer have to be. For justice wheels keep turning, Granny on the beat. Broken voices find their power, call out hope again. When Granny's crime busters ride, no victims left in vain. Bravery in her veins, truth she won't disguise. With a fire in her eyes, she's got nothing to deny. Granny fights for justice, never backs down from the call. For the voices and the missing, she'll stand tall.
Hello, everybody. How is everybody doing tonight? Hope everybody's having a great night so far. Hello, Ginger Girl. Yes, please, as you're coming in, hit that like button. Would appreciate that. We are going to talk about our little buddy Sebastian, as always, tonight. Some of you might have been on our members only live earlier, and if you're a member, I encourage you, if you missed it, to go and watch it. If you're not a member, it's time to become a member and watch it. Hello, SRB. Good to see you. Good to see you. So, yeah, because what we talked about in our members today, we are not going to talk about on our lives. So, if you really want to know about it, you need to become a member and go there. I'm not going to discuss that topic again. Yeah. If you missed it, it's there for the replay for sure. Tonight, I really wanted to talk about the red flags in Sebastian's case, right? There are so many. And it just disheartens me, guys. How long it's been? Over a year, 14 months, right? Just nothing's been done. No charges have been filed against anyone. And I honestly believe that we have to trust law enforcement, that they know what they're doing. I think they're trying to keep Sebastian safe wherever he might be out there, right? So we have to trust that that's in play. I think there may be also another reason, because it's the DA that decides what charges can go through, right? So, in my opinion, this DA has a track record of being soft on crime. That's about as far as I'm going to go with that. So we can only hope that things will move forward when God wants them to, right? Because God's bigger than the DA. He's bigger than Chris and Katie and anyone else who might have Sebastian, right? And we need to stand on that. We need to stand on that and believe on that, because there's so many things that we're questioning, right? So many things that we're questioning. Why hasn't there been arrests? Why hasn't there been, even for abuse, right? But we don't know what's in those reports. We don't know. They're not going to show them to us. They've been leaked all over, but nobody has shown them yet, as far as I'm aware. I can't believe they've been leaked. But hello, Canine. Good to see you. I'm glad you made it tonight. I did send you an email, honey, to let you know about our members live. But yeah, what you get confused with the time change, right? Hello, Brenda Joe. Good to see you. Good to see you. Canine, what time is it at your right now where you are? That way I can kind of say, okay, Canine's time is. uh, so anyway, and in thinking, now it's 3:00 there, so it's a 2-hour difference. Okay, gotcha. All right, so you're 2 hours earlier than I am. I'll try to remember that as well. But honestly, I get just as confused about it as you do. Ginger, help me to remember that. When the father states that the information in the reports keeps them up at night, then I can assume that there is abuse. I agree. And that breaks my heart for Seth, guys, because if reading those CPS reports and finding out what happened to Sebastian after the fact, I am sure that Seth is just kicking himself up one side and down the other, right? Wishing that he had, taken Sebastian earlier, and I can't imagine the guilt that he feels. So we need to keep him in our prayers as well, because that cannot be easy. That cannot be easy. 1 hour difference for you, Ginger, okay? So 1 hour for you, 2 hours for for Canine, not Sebastian. So yeah, I can't imagine what he feels and how he feels every day. No wonder he's so broken, right? Knowing what his son went through after reading those reports, it can't be easy. Cannot be easy. Thing is, those reports allegedly have been distributed, and you gotta wonder why certain people are still defending Chris and Katie, but it is what it is. I mean, I guess not everyone believes today's definition of what abuse is, right? Some people still think certain things are not abuse, like hitting a child with a belt. I can only believe Tony, who said there's plenty of evidence. Yeah. And we know there's plenty of evidence, guys. The only thing that I can think of is that they are really concerned about Sebastian, and that if they make an arrest, Sebastian might be harmed. That's the only thing I can think about. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. I mean, other than a DA who's soft on crime, that's the only other thing that makes sense to me. Remember, law enforcement can only move forward with charges if the DA says he can. So I agree with you, Ginger. She said, I can only trust what Seth has said in this case because he has passed a polygraph and has a strong alibi. I will promote what he has to say over anyone else. And You know, that that's my stand as well. You guys know that. You've been with me long enough to know that that's my stand. It hasn't changed for a long time. Um, I think you know me well enough to know that I look at all angles. And if you doubt that at all, go watch my members live today because you'll see that I look at everything. I look at details, guys. Um, I don't take things just for face value. So, um, and when I came into this case, I felt badly for all three parents, right? I didn't make a decision about anyone being guilty. I came into this case thinking it was a missing child case and wanting to know what happened to this autistic young man, right? That's the way I came into it. I do have to say it didn't take long for me to realize what was going on and to realize um, inconsistencies in statements. Um, Even without behavior analysts and statistic analysts, right? Or statement analysts. So even without them, because I truly believe that when we're looking at things with a critical eye and we're looking at details, we can pick things out. And it didn't take us long, did it? Even the very last interview with Dateline, or I think it's the last interview, but I don't know, last that we were aware of, the story changed again, right? We've been hearing all along she went to bed at midnight, right? The thud is gone. Now she went to bed at 11 o'clock. I mean, things just keep changing. Now I hear that Chris is admitting that he was in the area that weekend. Why? Oh, do you think maybe it has something to do with him being seen with his geofencing of his truck? Yep, canine, I said truck. Didn't talk about mom yet, though. Aw, little poor Ginger. If you didn't know, Ginger's dog, had to have some teeth surgically removed. Aw, yeah, poor little thing. Yeah, the story shouldn't change. I mean, even if we go with their narrative, SRB, right? Even if we go with their narrative that he ran away, which we all know didn't happen, right? But even if we go with that, their narrative keeps changing. But oddly enough, the narrative about him running away has never changed, even though law enforcement has repeatedly said that Sebastian there's no evidence that he walked out of that house. Even though law enforcement has said that, their narrative about him walking out the front door hasn't changed. Blows my mind. I know it wouldn't slip you, canine. Oh, 7 teeth left. Poor thing. Poor thing. Yeah. And dogs are not good about showing pain. So if they do show you anything, right, then they're in a lot of pain because they usually don't let you know. Poor thing. So I did kind of want to, we've shown it before, but I wanted to kind of go over it again because it still fits today. Maybe we can add some more. So if you guys think of another red flag in this case, let me know. Canine said, my buddy had 16 teeth pulled out. He adjusted nightly. Just give her lots of love. Aw. Yeah. 16 teeth. Ouch. So the first red flag is the way Sebastian ate, right? Some people think it was not a big deal. Some people do think it was. Some people think he's too thin. Some people didn't think anything of his weight. I'm going to say, let's see, I'm going to try to find that one picture that I had of him. Because to me, he looked really thin here. That picture that they showed of him running, he looked really, really thin. Don't know if I can find it now. Yep, here it is. To me, he looks really thin there. Look how thin he looks, and his clothes are baggy. Even his jeans are kind of baggy, right? You think he looks thin there, guys? Hello, Sam. No, you haven't missed too much. Yep. Yeah. What is up with that? Denying the reward from Dog and Nick, right? They have nothing to base it on, right? They can't say, oh, Dog and Nick did this before and never paid out the reward. There's nothing to base that on. There's no basis for it, what they're saying, right? And a lot of people are running with that. In my opinion, it's stupid. Is that their way of getting people to prevent people from talking? Because they're saying the reward isn't legit? No worries, CJ. Not a problem. You think he's about average, SRB? You don't think he's too thin? And your 16-year-old is skinnier. Well, and you guys would know better, but I've always heard about boys that all of a sudden they just pop up and they're skinny because their eating hasn't, they've grown so fast that they can't maintain a good weight. Is that right, guys? I didn't have that problem with my girls. My girls grew gradually over time and never had an issue, but I heard that that's what boys do. I don't know. I didn't have boys. You start to bulk up at 16. So they do have like a growth spurt, right? That's what I thought. My son was lanky at that age, grew tall and couldn't keep weight on. Yeah, because they grow too fast, right? And that's what concerns me, guys. Remember, they made such a big deal about the foods and the snacks. He could use them, right? I'm sure all of you who said that you had boys that, are skinnier or, whatever, you let them eat what they want. I mean, within reason. You're not going to let them have snacks before dinner, but right? I mean, you're going to let them eat what they want because they need that nutrition because they're growing. Gotcha. I think average considering, I mean, I have a child with disability. He's itty bitty. He's 10 and barely hitting 50 pounds short too. Gotcha. But he may, a couple of years here, he'll probably hit that growth spurt. And yeah, which if he was taken off his meds before TRH would explain why he was chomping down that food, right? We talked about that before. Exactly. See, that's the granny way. See, I look at this picture of Sebastian and I know it was about the way he runs or whatever, right? But I look at him and I want to fatten him up. It's true. I do. I think he's too thin. Something keeps popping in my mind. Who cares for the dogs or took them out to potty? Was anyone's? I think they had those pee pads in the kennels. It sounds like, I mean, you never hear about them. Put the dogs up. Put the dogs up. Not take the dogs out and go to bed. Right? No, put the dogs up. I think they had pee pads. Honestly. My teen is still a human garbage disposal and he's 19. Right? Yes. Hello, Kathy. Good to see you. We always joked our boys had a hollow leg they could eat nonstop. Yeah. My eldest was chubby, then went taller than chubby, and so my 3 older kids are big builds. My 2 youngest are skinny. My 2 youngest never stop eating. Yeah. Yep. Meds do make a big difference. Yep. And that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Yep. That's the granny in me. I want to fatten them up. Give them that homemade banana bread canine. Ah, kids with autism can be very fussy with food. My lad will only eat plain rice and plain pasta. Interesting. That's boring. But I get it. Yeah. Yeah. Put the dogs up. Not take them outside. Just put them up. And your son didn't start chunky until he was 25. Yeah. See? That's what I think. My stepson now, he ate a lot and he was thin as well. Not as thin as Sebastian was, but he wasn't autistic either. You can't fill them at that age. I know, right? My son can still eat like that, and he's now 48. Oh, yeah. 6'5". Wow. Very lanky because of her food aversions. Gotcha. Pasta is a favorite for autism. That's interesting. That's really interesting. And didn't they say that Sebastian liked mac and cheese? I think that's what they said. So the second big red flag was Katie's inconsistencies, right? We started out with she heard something, then it was a noise, and then it was a thud, and now we're back to she heard something. The thud's gone. right? And how many, went to bed at midnight. Her and Chris both said that. It was right around midnight, mind you, he said, right? Right around midnight. And now it's she heard something at 10 o'clock, heard him in there, and she went to bed about an hour later, which is 11 o'clock. An hour later is not 12 o'clock, like she said before. Yeah, his weight, yeah, I agree. Red flag. 113 to 120 pounds. Yes. And 120 pounds for a 5'5" kid, to me, that's skinny. But, that's the granny in me, right? But how many inconsistencies have we been told? And it's not even just Katie's inconsistency, it's Chris's as well, right? I mean, over and over and over again. It just, it doesn't end. And if they keep giving interviews, and I'm not talking about being on panels, guys. The last clip that I saw was horrific. I couldn't believe it. It was sick. It was better when they shut up and were quiet. Honestly, it was. It was better when they shut up and they were quiet. I wish they'd go back and do the same thing again. In my opinion, KP really didn't know what to say. Sebastian was like and what food he liked. She said "Eye of the Tiger" was his favorite song. People were searching, playing the song, and that wasn't even his favorite song. I've heard that too, but I've never heard what his favorite song is. Somebody else said that in chat one time. And I've never heard anything different. Because I actually heard Chris say "Eye of the Tiger" Survivor on one of the interviews. So I don't, if you know Sam, let me know. I don't know what his favorite song was. Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess that's true. Because, yeah, you're right. Ellie would want them to talk every day, because they're going to watch everything that they say, right? And they're going to be hoping that they're going to slip, like I'm sure that they already have. Let alone their inconsistencies. If they don't think that law enforcement is watching the inconsistencies in their statements from what they told law enforcement to what they're saying online, they are dead wrong. You can be 150% sure, guys, that law enforcement is watching everything that they are saying out here on these streets. I agree. I thought about that too, K9, when they said that they were playing on speakers, "Eye of the Tiger." That song is kind of, I don't know. loud anyway, and I don't mean it in the sense of auditory. I mean, it's just kind of a big song. So if you're blasting it on speakers, yeah. But he wasn't out there anyway. I guess it didn't matter. It's Katy Perry or something like that. Gotcha. Hello, Pitter Patter. I mean, I guess. Haters gonna hate. Shake it off. She forgot to mention he had beauty spots on his neck. Yeah. Yeah. All of a sudden now. And then I've heard that they were on that Dateline interview that they talked about the wrong spot. So exactly where were these freckles? I mean, I don't know. Right, Pitter Patter? It's true. That I can't believe anything they have said. They keep changing their story. They do. And that's what we're talking about. The inconsistencies. Second red flag up here. They keep changing their stories, right? Constantly. The third big one, Sebastian was not seen on any video surveillance, no matter what Chris and SF try to make us think. That shadowy figure was not Sebastian hiding behind the car. That was the guy walking his dog. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The right side of his neck, he has a few beauty marks and moles. Yeah. She's an embarrassment. Yeah. Well, the odds of us. I mean, then here's my thought. Then show us a good picture of his neck. We want to see it. If you want us to make sure it's Sebastian, if we see him, then show us a picture of his neck. But again, she's not going to have that because she didn't even have hardly any recent pictures of him. Except we've still never seen the pictures from TRH, have we? He ninjaed out. Yeah, he went poof, poof in the night. Ginger. I just said that. Great minds. He admitted on Clues Channel last night he was at Horn Lake on the Sunday. Unbelievable. I guess I'm not understanding you. I thought that someone said he admitted he was in the area. Uh, maybe. I don't know. I don't think they'll tell everybody the full facts. I think the only two who really know everything is Chris and Katie. Oh, I am sure, Ginger. I'm sure. More so, probably. Because they probably want to break this case and put it to bed, right? And they can't. Right? They need to find Sebastian. They need to find Sebastian. Um, so Sebastian not being seen on any video surveillance, that's huge, guys. With the way there are Ring cameras and surveillance cameras everywhere now, right? It's impossible for somebody to leave and not be seen on any camera. Impossible. Not in today's world. Honestly, I think the 3 a.m. flashlight video is it. At Horn Lake, South Haven. Yeah. And there was a car seen on camera, but not Sebastian. Well, even the flashlights, you couldn't make out the people. So if one of those people was carrying Sebastian, we couldn't see it. I agree. I don't think that those YouTube PIs were good for the search. Either the one Seth hired or SF. They don't belong being trusted. I mean, think about it. What information came into them that could have been relevant that they just, did away with? The fourth red flag is the $50,000 reward by FBI is seen as criminal intent. Right, the cameras were working. Oh, I see what you're saying, Sam. Yeah, there was a car seen on camera, but not Sebastian. You're right. So if Sebastian had been walking, he'd have been seen. If he had, yeah, exactly. I see what you're saying. Thank you for clarifying. But yes, guys, and Jennifer Coffindaffer said this. Regardless of what you may think of Jennifer, she is a retired FBI agent. And so she knows what the meaning of a reward from the FBI is. She said when they give a reward, especially one this big, which this is huge with the FBI, they usually give like 10,000, 13,000, something like that. Those are the kinds of figures that I have seen in missing children's cases. They do not put out $50,000 rewards just willy-nilly, guys. And they do see that when they do give a reward, it's because they believe that there is criminal intent. She said in her last story, she thought when he left, he was planning on coming back. Why did you leave your home then? Yes. Yeah. And did she really leave blanket and snacks? I mean, first of all, she said Sebastian knew the code to the front house. So she shouldn't have had to leave anything outside for him. Number one. But you don't leave your home, number 2. You don't allegedly throw his stuff away, number 3. Yeah, those imaginary white stripes on his pants would have reflected light. Well, I heard that, but was it ever verified? Is what I'm saying, K9. I mean, I heard that, but I just wondered if it was ever verified that she had left blankets in it. I would have liked to have seen a picture of that. Right? You'd think one of the neighbors would. I would have. I mean, think about it, guys. If you're a neighbor living in that neighborhood, this kid goes missing, and then the parents leave the home within a week after, but the mother leaves out a blanket and snacks on the porch. I'm going to take a stupid picture because I mean, really. Oh, she claims to have changed the door codes after he left. Oh, well, that's real smart. Oh, that's real smart. Yeah. Make it so he can't get in at all. The neighbors reported that to another creator. Gotcha. Like he's a stray cat or something. Katie is his 5th wife, yes. Nina has talked. She's the mother of his daughter. Right? I would be too. The other ones don't want to be involved, and I don't blame them. I mean, guys, would you want to admit you were married to Chris? I have an ex-husband, guys. Listen, I don't have a problem saying I was married to him. I don't. And he was even, I went through DV with him. But I he seems to have changed. I don't have a problem saying I was married to him. I would be really embarrassed to say if I was an ex-wife of Chris Brownfoot. No, they didn't. If they left food out on the porch, that was just for show, Sam, because they know he's not in the woods and he was not coming back. They know where he went. This whole leaving in fear makes no sense. You mean him running off because he was afraid? I don't think so either. And the reason that I say that, I mean, that's always a possibility, but I don't think that's what happened. And the reason that I say that is because Sebastian found his safe place at school. And he found his voice and he was able to talk. That's why there were so many CPS reports, guys. Because whoever at school was his safe place listened to him, heard him, believed him, and reported it to CPS. So I think that was his way of saying things. Now, I think Sebastian, if there was fear, which I'm sure he feared Chris, but if there was fear, the fear would have been going out into the unknown because he's used to familiar places. You heard both Seth and Katie and Chris say that, right? He could navigate you to Seth's house in Clarksville, which is an hour away, because he'd been down that road many times. He could navigate you to Culver's, they said. Other than that, no. So I think for Sebastian, it would have been too fearful for him to take off. That's what I think. Well, yeah, your situation a little bit different, Ginger. I could see why your ex would remain nameless. Um, call the fifth on my exes. That is funny. Oh, Katie leaving because of fear and threats. Oh, I see what you're saying. So, yeah, Katie leaving within a week because of the fear and threats. I don't believe that either. I don't see Chris. I mean, come on. Within that first week, Chris was out in the road yelling at neighbors not to be driving down the road. So they're not scared of anybody, right? They're not. So, I mean, yeah, she didn't leave because she was afraid. That is a bunch of bull. Allegedly, because they were afraid. Their whole story is BS, right? Definitely. Aw. Member for 4 months. Awesome, K9. Love being with you, Granny, keeping it real. And we love you too. We do. I love all you guys. You're awesome. Um, so then the next issue, motive, right? Big red flag there. We don't honestly know for sure what the motive is. If I would have to give you a motive right now of what I think it is, it would be that Chris did not like the fact that he could not be around Sebastian, therefore couldn't be in his own home, and nobody was going to take Chris's stuff away from him. And that is very triggering for me because that is how my first husband was. Everything was a material possession to him. Everything that he owned mattered to him. So if you take that away, if you try to mess with anything that is his, you're going down, right? And that's the way I see Chris. So, because I believe that last CPS report, guys, said that Chris could not be anywhere around Sebastian. And because Sebastian was in the home, hence he couldn't be around Sebastian. So he couldn't be in his own home. That's not going to sit well with Mr. Chris, right? It's just not. And the other thing is that he said it's either him or me. Well, he got his way, didn't he? The question is, what did the two of you do with Sebastian then? He had to leave because of CPS. Yes. I agree. Sebastian is the only victim in this case. They are not victims, and they're playing the victim, and they're doing all the self-preservation that they've been doing is beyond sickening. It is. It's beyond sickening. Yeah, and if she can't have him, neither can Seth. Yep, I agree with you 100%. I think Katie hates Seth. I think that hate has, I don't know when it happened, sometime during their marriage, I think, and it's never left. Yes, very much so. Yep. She sure did, didn't she? She got her way. Yes. So Sebastian got him kicked out from the home he's paying for. Exactly. Exactly. You know that's not going to go over well. When you're paying $3,600 a month for a mortgage, yeah, not going to go over real well. CJ, I agree with you. She said, Granny, I agree, but I also think Sebastian might have either talked to teachers again or was going to testify in the custody case. The custody case for Faith. I think so too. I think so too. Well, we're not going to go there yet, but I agree with you and I would do the same. Yes, she did. That's what I've heard as well, that she was messing around with Chris before she ever divorced Sebastian, or before she ever divorced Seth. Oh, I know. And it is so sick, Canine. Oh, I mean, you've probably heard him say things like, just because I jumped on panel, your subscribers have jumped up 1,000. Like he's some sort of god or something, right? And he's not. It's not. You know, I could care less if I never hear his voice again, guys. Honestly. Honestly. I'm telling you, and I don't know if you guys know which one I'm talking about. I don't know if it was I think it was War Eagle that put it out on YouTube. Short clip. And Chris, it was disgusting. I think that's the title of the short. It's disgusting. Just sick. How a man can be on a panel, a late night panel, talking about well, I'm not even going to say what he was talking about, but it's sick. It's sick. Certainly doesn't care about his missing stepson when he's talking about that crap. Hello, Robin. Good to see you. So do I, because in my opinion, Faith reported something CP did to Sebastian. Yeah. Everyone exits. No, but I bet everybody's um looking to see what I'm talking about, right? um, but I mean, there were also, the issues of bedwetting, abuse. Um, I'm not sure how those could come into motive. I mean, other than we know that Chris was fed up with the bedwetting, but the problem is that um, he was the cause of the bedwetting, right? When when a child is under extreme stress and afraid, excuse me, there's going to be a problem. Yeah, he thinks he's smart, thinks he's gotten away with it. Here's the thing, Sam. He's going to end up I think he's going to end up being the one to break. Mike Demand thinks the same thing. Chris can't keep his mouth shut. He can't keep his mouth shut. Another red flag is domestic violence against others. Well, we know against Nina. I forget what his other wives' names were. There was a Sarah, there was a Melanie, maybe. I don't remember. There's a few out there. There's 4 others out there, let's say. uh, it's all signs of physical abuse and emotional abuse, SA abuse, and neglect on KP's part. I agree. Rachel, that's right. Rachel, she was the one that was hit in the head with a hammer, I want to say, right? So, yeah. Isn't that the truth? People are jumping around like frogs. Well, guys, this granny is right here. She's not jumping anywhere. She's always been on her own. It's obvious because we're growing steadily, one subscriber at a time, and that's okay because we're getting a good family here. When you start to hang out with other people, you get all their subs, right? Well, what good is that, right? I don't want other people's subs. I'm not trying to take anybody else's subs away from them. I'm trying to build our own community here. There is a Rachel who has spoken about her injuries. Yeah. Yeah. And I think it was hit her in the head with a hammer or something. Oh, I know. He tells it, doesn't he always? But I think, and when you're going, he said, she said, it's difficult, right? But you got to read more of the documents than he said, she said. Right? Yeah, he's a barefaced liar. I'm one of those underground frogs. I'll just sit around under the mud and wait. I'm kind of like that too, K9. But I don't hate any creators. I don't. There may be some I dislike. But I'm certainly never going to talk ill of any of them. Just not going to happen, right? And that's why we don't name them in our chat, because we're just going to stay in our own little lane here and keep motivating on, That's right. He did say that. He never heard about that before. Yeah. Yeah. But he didn't say he didn't do it, did he, Robin? So we got the DV against others. We have the SA abuse, right? And I think that, Chris liked to intimate that Sebastian, because of his SA abuse, does weird things or something. I don't know. I don't know if it's true. I don't know. if that's the case, then why didn't he get him help? Okay, right? But I do believe that Sebastian needed help. If he never got the right kind of treatment, like Seth said, then he needed help for that. Hello, Terry Jones. I don't go on hate channels. Have a handful of creators I still watch. So I come here and speak my mind. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that you feel safe, speaking your mind here. And that is the kind of place I build, right? That we can speak our mind. As long as we're saying it's our opinions, we're fine here, because we're having a discussion. We're not trying to be hateful. We're not trying to be mean, right? We're just trying to say what we've seen in the case, right? So Terry says, I'm fairly new to this case. Do most people think Chris had something to do with Sebastian's disappearance, or Katie, or both? It depends on who you're talking to, I guess. Right, Terry? What I will say, for me and for what we have seen here, is that, well, Ginger said it good. Ellie says, no evidence of foul play. We are basing our opinions on statements and behaviors of those that are part of the case. CJ says, I have different opinions, but who truly knows? And there's a lot of things that make him questionable. Everyone needs to have their own opinions. That's right. And we put everything out there, share our thoughts, that kind of thing. And everybody has a right to their own opinions. Everyone in here knows that I don't care if people disagree with me in here. I do not have a problem with that. All I ask is that everybody remain respectful, right? Because I don't want a lot of yes people in here. It could get very boring if we did that. So sharing new ideas, sharing things like that is fine. The things that we have pointed out, and especially the red flags in Sebastian's case, are that Katie and Chris, their statements have been inconsistent. And I want to encourage you, go back and look at others. We've done statement analysis. We've listened to behavior analysis of Katie and Chris. And many of these professionals in statement analysis and behavior analysis believe they're lying. Their words, not mine. Katie and Chris said that Sebastian walked out the door. Well, there is no evidence, no video surveillance to prove that he walked out that door. Law enforcement said there's no proof at all that he walked out the door. There's no scent trail. There's no video surveillance. There's nothing. Yet there is a flashlight video at 3 a.m. That looks as though two people walk from the Proudfoot home to the vehicle. So question is, did they put Sebastian in that vehicle that night? He had to have been carried out because there's no evidence he walked out. So you can see where we're going with that. Yes. Yes, they did. The difference is Madeline soda was found. Yeah, we sure do, don't we? It's never boring here. I mean, yeah, we have our fun. Yeah. CPKP and Seth are not my people. I've never broke bread with them. Seth has earned my trust, but others not so much. Exactly. And myself, Granny, I've never met any of them either. Okay. Never have. Probably never will. I live in Wisconsin. They live in Tennessee. Um, Probably would never meet them, right? So just saying, we can only go by what interviews they have done. So Terry, I would encourage you to, look at their interviews, go back to previous videos that even we have done and others maybe, and, make your own determination of where you stand. Um, the next red flag is it is very unusual to leave shortly after your child is missing. That is a huge factor. Jennifer Coffindaffer said that, now, guys, she has been a part, being a retired FBI agent, she has been a part of many missing children's cases. She said, this is really unusual to leave shortly after your child is missing. She said, very, very unusual that parents would do such a thing. I mean, it could be, but here's my question, Sam. At the TRH video, when they got into the car, you could see Sebastian through the window. Okay? Her windows are not that tinted. Do you not think that, okay, say he got into the car and was driven out of the garage, got into the car in the garage, was driven out of the garage, do you not think that a neighbor or anyone, there was neighbors out. She went out before she left in her car. Do you not think those same neighbors wouldn't have seen Sebastian in the passenger seat? I don't think that's a possibility. TRH is a Texas Roadhouse. They went to eat that night before Sebastian went missing. Yep, they left and made sure he couldn't get back in by changing the code. But they changed the code because I don't know why they changed the code, obviously. I don't know. But they knew he wasn't coming back. So very unusual to leave shortly after your child is missing. The discipline was harsh. He took away his cats. He took away his snake. If Sebastian didn't clean his room the way he wanted, he would take everything that was laying on the floor and put it in a garbage bag and throw it away. He hit him with a belt. We also know that he sprayed him outside with a power washer and called him an R word. So that's a huge red flag. And that also falls in line with the CPS reports. So I have another flag to add. It says last seen wearing black sweatshirt, black pants, and black rimmed glasses. That's a good point. But I think she did say, fairness. I think she did say his glasses were not there, so she assumed he had them with him. But yes, you bring up a good point. And the black sweatshirt isn't even accurate. It was a black long sleeve t-shirt. So, oh, CJ, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. Well, I'm glad. You're welcome here anytime. I try to stick with the facts, guys, and what's been said, you know, by the parents out there. If something is rumor, I will say it, right? Or I'll say, don't quote me, guys. I've heard this, you know. So I'm not one that likes to just run with rumor and speculation. You bring up a really good point, Terry Jones. I think it's almost worse. Um, if you ever heard Chris speak when he's angry, it would send chills down your spine. Good for you, CJ. Too convenient for him to be dressed in all black the night he disappeared. Yeah. Um, I was gonna say, were all of his shirts black? Looks like this one was. I don't know. Interesting though. Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess if you're gonna go out late at night, you're gonna wear all dark clothing, aren't you? Oh, that's a really good point, Sam. Really good point. Another form of abuse is not having them interact with other kids and making friends. That's right. She, you know, she said, well, he didn't have any friends, but then she contradicted herself and said the friends that he had was at school. Which is it? Right? And she said, well, if he would have had friends, we would let him have play dates. Excuse me. You don't have play dates at 15. It's like remember we said this, that she always talked about Sebastian, especially in the beginning, as if he were 8 years old or something, right? You don't have play dates at 15. But it is, yes. Isolation is another form of abuse. Definitely is. You know, and what is the reason for that, right? What was she so afraid of? Or did she just not want to deal with it? Did she not want to have other kids come to her house because she didn't want to deal with it? Because look at what happened when she did that in California. She allowed another child that was older than Sebastian, to be in his room with him alone. And Sebastian was essayed during that encounter under her watch. So she just not want to deal with that. That's why she didn't want him to have any friends. Yes, Factory Girl. I agree with you. I did hear a little bit of that. His voice, his tone. Um, that's why he sounded like he was almost in tears, didn't he? And afraid, maybe. And that's why I think he's going to be the first to break. Yeah, I agree. I um I don't know what it was about Chris, but he didn't like having people at his house. I worked for the same agency Seth worked for. I was a nurse. It's hard to debunk his alibi. We were constantly on camera and having to be accounted for at all times. Awesome, CJ. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that. I don't think anybody here has ever doubted his alibi anyway, because we knew that they're on camera. I mean, they're guards, right? Yeah, this was different though. Did CJ, did you hear him on that panel with Yada? Um, this was totally different than his other. He sounded, yeah, I agree. But he sounded broken. That's a good word for the way he sounded. Right, Factory Girl? He sounded broken to me. Very much broken. He was PO'd. Yeah. Yeah, he's rallied since then. He's back to his normal self. I've heard him. Yes, he did. He had fear in his voice like it's coming down on them. Um it's funny how he comes on panel to defend self-preservation. It's all it ever is. It's never about Sebastian. It's all about self-preservation and defending Katie, or defending Katie or his mom. There you go, canine mother. I finally said it. Yes. I didn't hear anger in there either. Exactly. Someone at a breaking point, broken but hasn't fallen yet. Yes. Exactly. That's exactly it. Rally doesn't describe it. I mean, um, he's back to normal. Mother truck mother, that's right. he's he's back to his normal voice. Whatever it was that day on panel with Yada, he was broken. He was, yeah, he was broken. He was at his breaking point. Um, and it was very strange. Yeah, in the beginning, Yada said she thought KP did something. She's totally backtracked now, though, Sam. But yeah, I just think about all the red flags, and I know that Seth has got to be just beating himself up. I don't know. I don't know how he makes it through a day. Maybe he feels like he's no longer in control of the narrative. I think so. Yada, I don't think she knows more. Honestly, I don't. And the reason that I say that is that allegedly, from the sounds of it, she's kind of a busybody and in her family, and she causes problems. And first she comes over to Seth's side and feels so sorry for Seth. Now she's on the other side and she's bashing Seth. So it kind of gives you an idea that there's something wrong there. There's something really, you don't switch sides like that, guys. You just don't. You would think, right? I don't know. It's weird. It's really weird. Remember, they're from the South. The man's got to protect his woman, kind of deal. Could be. I don't know. I I don't know. Good point, K9. Yeah, I think she should have just shut up and went away after she did the interview with Betty. Coming out now on the other side, just she's lost all her credibility. So, yeah, the family dynamics. Guys, I mean, when you look at Katie's family, okay, here is what I know for a fact, okay? These are facts. They're out there. You can Google it and you can look it up. Katie's mother's name is Frances Suzette Rosenbaum. She is a registered SO. Okay? That's a fact. I'm not going any further than that. She was also married to Larry McClure, who red-rummed his daughter's boyfriend and then married his daughter. Facts. You can look them up. It's there. Okay? There's your family dynamics. Those are facts, guys. She said no one on this side of the family has Sebastian. Well, I certainly hope not, after what I just told you. I hope nobody in that family has Sebastian. Google it, y'all. He married his daughter. He did. Did they have kids as well? No. No, he confessed about the red rum and went to jail. And so did both of his daughters because, yes, the other daughter helped him. Red rum. They were um they're having a meth party. How about that? When they red rummed him, tortured him, red rummed him, and they dug him back up because they thought he might still be alive. And then they did more. I'm telling you guys, Google it. Larry McClure is his name. And yes, there is another side of the family. It's Katie's biological dad. Yes, Katie lived with her father for a while after being taken from her mother, and then she moved in with her grandma. Canine. Yes, I mean, but none of that. All I'm saying is that I sincerely hope that Sebastian is not with that side of the family, guys. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, right? I can, and trust me, I wouldn't even say it if it wasn't true. So, there. I told you I'm only dealing in facts, guys. Only deal with facts. So, no, I pray, hope, and pray. I think they've checked. I know that Seth and Tony were out in Virginia, guys. That's where Katie's mom lives, and there had to be a reason why they went out there. So no, I don't believe that Sebastian is with them. Thank the Lord, and I pray he's not with any of them. No, but like I said, Sam, like I said, Seth and Tony went out there, and they kind of hinted that that's why they went out there, to make sure, right? Yeah, I think Yada would be the last person they'd tell. Yeah, there's a documentary on YouTube. There is. I watched it. Right, Canine? The facts are insane enough. We don't need to, right? We don't need to make the stuff up. My imagination doesn't work that way either. Oh, gosh. Let's just say I would not want my children or my grandbabies anywhere near that family. I'm telling you what. No, thank you. Stay away. I think he's still in prison, though, I believe. I think they're all still in prison. Both daughters and him. But oh, goodness. Well, my grannyism for today is about red flags. Never discredit your gut instinct. You are not paranoid. Your body can pick up bad vibrations. If something inside of you says something is not right about a person or situation, trust it. What do you think about that? Never discredit your gut instinct. And that is so true, guys. How many times have you ever been in a situation where your first instinct was, oh, don't trust this. And then you wished you would have trusted your gut, right? Yeah. Yeah. A lot of shady surrounded by red flags in this case. I'm telling you, and if we think about, I'm not saying, listen to your gut. If something inside of you says something is not right about a person or situation, trust it. Don't throw it out there to everybody, right? You're going to get your facts. You're going to do some critical thinking, but trust before you jump blindly into an idea or a thought or something, right? What do I say to that family? I have nothing to say to that family. Nope, not going there. Yeah, nothing to say to that family. That's intuition. You're right. It is. I'd say God help you all. Yeah, I might go a step further and say, get on your knees and read your Bible. I don't know. Oh gosh. Yeah. Yeah. So that's my grannyism for today. Trust your gut. Trust your intuition, your instincts. Pause. It means it's a yellow light. Pause. Pause. And then do your due diligence, right? Don't just take somebody's word for things. Don't, even mine, guys, right? I mean, if I bring something out, check it, fact check it. I don't have a problem with you doing that because that's what I would do. That's what I do. So, anyway, guys, that's all I have for tonight. I want to thank you all for being here. I appreciate your time. Be sure to hit the like button on your way out. I would really appreciate it. And I hope you all have a great night. Thank you for watching another episode of Granny's Crime Busters. We really appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to subscribe and like and even share the content. You can follow us on any of our other social media platforms at YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We really appreciate you guys, and you can also email us at granny'scrimebusters@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.